It could have been far worse than the silver price crash of October 17th, 2025. There was more going on with silver that day than what is immediately apparent. Along the way, I'll share what I've learned from this video. Yes, I understand, Monday was a complete and utter disaster for the price of silver. It is completely devoid of any sugarcoating, a steep decline. When we re-examined the data, we saw that the price dropped $3.95 between the high and low points, a first of its kind. Such a thing has never crossed my path. The fact that silver is still selling for more than $50 Oz is obvious. Undoubtedly, that is a commendable triumph. Indeed, despite yesterday's events, silver was still down more than 4%, albeit a 6% decline. Although silver prices fell precipitously in just one day, they did manage to find support at $50.57, which is still significantly higher than $50 and highly desirable. I think it's enough evidence of success to proclaim victory, as silver has maintained its price above that psychologically significant level. At the close of business, 1 ounce of silver was trading at about $52. Upon Sunday night's market opening, that is what we may anticipate. If you want to know what happens with silver on Sunday night, you'll have to tune in to this channel because no one else does it. What I did find, however, about the cause of the precipitous decline in silver prices was fascinating. What I've learned today has completely changed my outlook on the current bull run in silver prices and makes me believe that they should have fallen much lower. First, I'd want to bring up Summit Metals, our channel sponsor, just in case you forgot. Look them up if you're in the market to purchase or sell gold or silver. The description below includes the link. Try out their lightning-fast shipping, extensive and ever-expanding assortment, and first-rate customer service. Now, I had previously said that yesterday's events could signal the start of the end of silver's bull run or rise. Naturally, that is all conjecture from my side. This may only be a little setback, but it certainly seems major. Eventually, when everything was said and done, there was a huge 4% decrease. At its worst, 6% is enormous and vast, which could be discouraging. They basically put everything at it, but what I learned from someone's post on X offers me hope that maybe it's not finished yet and that something else is at work. According to X-Men, the silver market manipulated prices down a couple of dollars by trading 977 million paper ounces on Friday. There were 308 deliveries on the COMEX and 775 on the LBMA. Sell all the world's mining supplies in a single day for $2. That's the equivalent of that. The game, he claims, will soon be over. Thus, to rephrase, that was an admirable endeavor. Actually, it exceeded the mining supply for the year 2024. The world's silver mine production in 2024 was around 180 million ounces, or 837 million ounces. Plus, yesterday's posting included trades totaling more than 900 million ounces. Wow, look at this. This occurred at the same time as a 6% decline to little over $50 per ounce, surpassing yearly global mine production of 944 million ounces despite just 1,083 actual deliveries. When you consider all of the figures and what has transpired, you can see that this is a huge step forward. It's the largest single-day price movement in silver that I've ever witnessed. It leaves you with questions. This is where he makes the assumption that manipulation and suppression are at play, and he might be partially right. But I think there was some profit-taking. You know, a few of the dynamics are different now. Therefore, it's reasonable to assume that the major bullion banks were adding to it during the sell-offs, creating what amounts to a pile-on scenario. And this is the cause of the tremendous amount of movement that has taken place in just one day. With October deliveries reaching 308 and futures volumes approaching 180,000 contracts, it is clear that there is a physical imbalance in this paper. When discussing manipulation, it's important to note that the term can be used rather loosely in this context. For example, when large bullion banks move silver, someone owns the contracts and money is being put into them. Big bullion banks might be involved, but in reality, it's just people. Many other types of silver investments are available to traders like us. In my opinion, it is the situation at the moment. The assertions now are in line with the discussion surrounding the suppression of the futures market. We also witnessed the consequences of a JP Morgan spoofing, which resulted in $920 million in fines, as revealed by the CFTC data. Neither in 2025 nor in the years prior had there been any significant enforcement proceedings. Is that still going on now? When that verdict came down, you have no idea. Considering the amount of silver that has been moved, is this an example of a huge effort that has had little impact overall? There might not be much more to do if they can move more silver than the annual mined quantity in a single day, or even less than that, and to the negative, that is, if they engage in selling or short selling. There will be a few more days like this for them. The price of silver will effectively be battling back even if the next 3 days are the same. And on Friday, it did put up a fight. That is why by day's end, the loss was just 4% rather than 6%. But this does tell us something, folks. There may be an underlying suppressive power in the market, as well as a natural market drive. That might have been the case, but the natural market eventually made a comeback. And just before Friday's markets closed, investors were considering opportunity purchases. The verified volume now shows us that the silver market is showing some resilience over $50 Aussie, at least as of Friday. This both opens my eyes and shocks me in a way. The markets start on Sunday night, so it will be fascinating to watch what happens then, and we'll be covering that on this channel. Upon its opening in Asia, I hope you will be there to examine the markets with me. Regardless, this is a pretty intriguing finding. I also don't see how they could sustainably do this over and over again in an effort to maintain the price below $50 Oz. Perhaps they could. We can rule it out. Please understand that this was a tremendous step forward in every respect. This leads me to believe that the silver bull run and rally is resilient, and that we have a good chance of recouping part of these losses when markets open and throughout next week. At the absolute least, I anticipate that its price will remain at around $52 to $53 per ounce. I still don't see it dropping below $50 before next week's conclusion, though. Personally, I feel that way. Things could loosen up a bit, even if the present rally fades and pulls back due to the LVMA and silver coming to vaults there via plane and other regions as well. However, I believe silver has greater potential to maintain these numbers for the foreseeable future, so in the end, the setback might not be that big of a deal. But it's a mystery to us. The future is completely unpredictable. In general, though, I'm optimistic, and I do think that silver is entering a new period, and that what lies after this is worth looking forward to. Backwardation is still present. London is still experiencing a silver scarcity. On the other hand, more people are purchasing during this slump, so there's a lot going on. Not only will local coin shops all across the country and the world start buying more coins, but internet dealers like Summit Metals, a channel sponsor, will also start buying more coins. And that is exactly what is transpiring. I made a video earlier today where I discussed that very thing. In my opinion, this is something that will become increasingly common. When you try to sell in this market, you're not doing as well because you're receiving much less back than in a normal market, so people will be buying physical and maybe even selling a little bit less to take advantage of the dip. Obviously, that could still work to your advantage in the event that you are forced to sell. Personally, I don't think it's a good idea to sell and incur any more losses than that. These days, you might find coin stores paying significantly less than the spot price. From what I've heard, it can go all the way back to as high as 12% in certain instances. That concludes it. Tell me what you think about this new turn of events. Interesting, I must say. I don't think the price drops that occur in the next few days will be as significant as the ones that occurred on Friday, regardless of what happens. I believe that buyers will be able to take advantage of these dips to prevent a big multi-day collapse, even though this smackdown at the end of the day helped to mitigate the one-day fall. Even into next week, that may persist. In the space provided below, please share your opinions with me. I really hope you gained some useful knowledge from watching this video. The time you've taken to watch this is greatly appreciated, and I ask that you do the following: subscribe, like, share, and rate the video.